YouTube is a massive platform for creativity where people create masterpieces and take actions worthy of attention, but unfortunately, some creators misuse the right to free expression, producing content that can harm children. James Bear, a rising art creator with nearly 350,000 subscribers, couldn't hold back and confessed to one of the most disturbing sins. He taught his 9-year-old sister how to play football. Let's put it that way to avoid shocking YouTube. But now the real question is, how did it all happen? Let's rewind a bit. James used to run a typical animation channel, creating a web series set in his own universe, but it didn't gain much traction. So he launched a new series featuring a female character based on his girlfriend Claire. In this series, he focused a little too much on certain parts of her body, often portraying her in an uncomfortable and objectifying way. The attention came fast, but so did his biggest critic, Aaron, who dropped a massive expose on his former friend. Most of the document was rambling nonsense and baseless claims, but one part stood out. A private conversation between James and Aaron, where James talked about a disturbing connection with his younger sister. He tried to justify it by blaming depression and bullying from his father. If you pause for even a second, you can't help but ask, what does depression have to do with committing one of the most unforgivable acts imaginable? Let's be real, there is no excuse. Now, you might ask, what if it's all fake? You'd be surprised. Twitter doesn't let you delete messages from the recipient's inbox, and James didn't even try to deny it. In fact, he admitted to it, broke up with Claire, and walked away from the relationship entirely. Then, as an adult in 2020, James faced another scandal. Leaked Discord chats where he openly confessed again. Soon after, several old acquaintances came forward, saying he used to tell this story to just about anyone who got remotely close to him. Naturally, James couldn't come up with anything better, so he went for a full public confession, claiming the incident only happened once. His defense, he was underage at the time, so according to him, it doesn't count. What? Of course, the post didn't stay up for long. It was quickly deleted. At the time, hardly anyone knew about the situation, and the real wave of cancel culture didn't hit until mid-2022. Fame had clearly gone to his head. The money was rolling in, the audience adored him. And then came a post from an art creator named Lalo. She gathered all the key details about the incident, laid it out in a short and straightforward format, and made it clear she wanted James canceled. The backlash came quickly. James once again tried to defend himself, repeating the same excuses he'd posted before, instead of staying silent or fully owning up to what he had already admitted. He even uploaded a video where he, yet again, confirmed the relationship and tried to justify it. Then, on September 9th, 2023, a document titled "I'm Tired of Staying Silent" surfaced. It was written by a girl named Alicia, who claimed she was James's sister, the one at the center of it all. According to her, the abuse continued all the way up to 2020, but perhaps the most heartbreaking part, when she finally told their mother about it, her only response was criticism, brushing it off with something along the lines of, "That was so long ago, just forget it." Later, Alicia would go on to say that none of it was true, that the story had been fabricated, and her family suffered deeply because of the fallout. James himself wasn't done facing consequences either. His ex-girlfriend came forward with her own story, revealing that he had stalked her on social media, created a fan account dedicated to her, and even posted inappropriate content involving his drawn character Clarissa, supposedly portraying her cheating. James claimed she had been unfaithful during their relationship, but no matter the excuse, his actions were beyond unacceptable. For this, he earned the reputation of one of YouTube's most disturbing creators. Not long ago, he finally released a video where he confessed to everything, apologized for his behavior, and brought an end to what had become a nearly decade-long circus of lies. But not all creators are problematic. Some truly earn their place in the spotlight. One such example is GHS Studio, led by a talented South Korean animator. She began her career with light, trend-based animations, covering hits like Among Us, Friday Night Funkin', Poppy Playtime, and more. But she didn't stop there. She quickly realized that sticking to one formula would grow stale, so she started producing a mix of short and long-form videos, as well as original vertical content, many of which went insanely viral. To this day, the studio stays in tune with its audience, knowing exactly when to shift styles or jump on new trends to keep things fresh and exciting. The studio earns its income through channel monetization donation, and notably, there are no links to donation platforms in the channel's info, a big plus for their reputation. They don't ask for contributions and seem genuinely committed to creating free content for everyone to enjoy. The creator doesn't list individual artists, nor does she put her own name in the spotlight. As mentioned before, she presents the project as a collective, a true studio, which is honestly very cool. I even came across a few posts where she was hiring, promising a welcoming environment and a cozy personal workspace for new team members. Looking at the content as a whole, it's purely entertainment, free of anything harmful or sexual, and in today's internet landscape, that alone feels like a rare and refreshing gem. Engaging with the audience is also one of the most important responsibilities for any public figure, and GHS Studio does it incredibly well. They genuinely appreciate fan art, comics, and funny memes from their loyal followers, often reposting them on their official page. All of this paints a picture of a studio that truly cares, and in my opinion, all these factors make GHS Studio a genuinely awesome project, one that fully deserves every bit of success they've earned. Unfortunately, there are also some really poor examples of how creators treat their audiences. One such case is the Italian animator Shappy Sway. Despite only being on YouTube for a short time, he's already built a reputation as one of the sleaziest figures in the animation scene. Let's start from the very beginning. Nearly all of his videos are filled with crude humor. Think jokes about butts, adult activities, awkward teenage experiences, and even oddly framed father-son relationships. He brushes it all off by saying it's just the characters' ages or his stance on the LGBTQ+ community. How convenient. The real problem? This kind of content isn't being consumed by adults. It's kids who are watching, and whether he admits it or not, he's actively harming young minds with this kind of material. You might say, well, it's not his fault. Parents should watch what their kids are doing, and you'd be right. Here's what the creator himself had to say. He suggests that it's up to adults to limit their children's screen time and control their access to content, so that kids don't end up watching material meant for audiences 18 and older. Fair enough on the surface, but here's the catch. Shappy himself refuses to mark his videos as 18+, not even for that small percentage of younger viewers who still manage to find his channel. There's even a post where he claimed he does mark his content properly, but surprise, that post was quietly deleted once people started calling him out. Things escalated when larger YouTubers like Ryth, Glider Guy, and others stepped in. Once Shappy started gaining views, they quickly reacted to his content, now pointing out how harmful it was and questioning his overall stance. That didn't sit well with Shappy. He began messaging the creators who criticized him. For example, he publicly promised not to issue copyright strikes over people expressing their opinions about his work. Spoiler alert, he lied. It didn't take long, and on April 9th, he filed a strike against Ryth, claiming defamation, profit from his image, and unauthorized use of his content. Luckily, YouTube moderators weren't buying it. None of the complaints were upheld, but Shappy didn't stop there. He tried to smear Ryth's reputation by posting so-called exposés. Here's the thing, YouTube doesn't care about personal drama. They care about clear, documented violations, and once Shappy was warned that false copyright claims could get him banned, he quickly backed down and dropped the threats. Ryth's team decided to give Shappy a chance to explain himself and invited him onto a live stream, and that's when the real battle began. For nearly 2 hours, Shappy tried to claim that all the posts, complaints, and copyright strikes hadn't been made by him personally, but by his lawyer. Naturally, no one believed that. Throughout the stream, he continued making questionable statements and throwing out weak arguments that fell flat. It was a mess, and he fully earned the cancellation he received from the community. Dude Danz, real name Danz, was born on July 27, 2001. He holds a degree in business management and studied at Brigham Young University, Idaho. His YouTube channel launched in 2022 and gained popularity at lightning speed. At first, viewers were split. Some loved his art style, others criticized it, but let's be honest, the work he puts in is truly impressive. His series follows Danz and his assistant, Snad, all set to trending TikTok sounds, a creative blend that struck a chord with audiences. The creator is incredibly open with his audience, regularly posting polls, discussing video ideas with fans, and genuinely making his community feel heard. And he's a huge Lego fan. I mean, who doesn't love Lego? I love Lego. In fact, he even included a heartfelt message of encouragement for fellow creators in his channel description, a small gesture that shows just how much he values even the smallest voices in the community. Oh, and he also produced a game called Color Block Jam, a fun Lego-themed puzzle that's honestly pretty engaging. But hey, we're not here to advertise, so let's get back to the main topic. Dude Dans is a genuinely likable creator, someone who brings only positive energy through his work and his connection with the audience. He's earned the title of a cool YouTuber in every sense. Telepert is the creator behind a channel with over 2.5 million subscribers and a massive fan base on Patreon, though his reputation is a bit more controversial. Let's start from the beginning. He first joined the platform, posting short sketch-style videos with his own drawings, just aiming to improve his art. At that point, it didn't seem like he had any real plans to turn YouTube into a money-making venture. Years passed, his animations became more polished, and the channel began to grow. But so did the level of sensuality in his content. It gradually turned into something resembling a digital magazine centered around a beautiful female character, grabbing attention more through visual appeal than narrative. Naturally, YouTube didn't take kindly to that shift, and age restrictions started rolling in. Oh, YouTube. Now, to be fair, everyone has the right to express themselves, as long as it doesn't infringe on others' rights or well-being. But for many, Teleporte's content felt overly erotic and borderline inappropriate, and that criticism is valid. Some of his characters were heavily sexualized, no doubt about it. Still, if you look at his full body of work, it becomes clear that the intention was never to harm or offend. What you're really seeing is the evolution of an artist, someone who started with stickman animations and grew into a skilled animator exploring complex forms and stylized human figures. However, controversy eventually caught up with him. According to circulating rumors, the creator allegedly offended minority communities, which sparked a wave of backlash and accusations of transphobia. Whether the claims were fully grounded or not, the outrage was loud enough to damage his public image. Due to YouTube's strict content policies, he eventually had to shift much of his creative output to Patreon, where he now shares his work behind paid subscriptions. And honestly, it's hard to blame him. This move was largely driven by the preferences of his own audience. Many still praise Teleperte for his top-tier animation quality and sheer dedication to the craft, something I've also recognized. But despite all the technical talent and fan appreciation, the backlash has left him with a polarizing reputation. So that brings us to the big question: is Telepert truly a great animator and creator? That likely depends on where you draw the line between artistic freedom and social responsibility. Technically, absolutely. He's grown tremendously as an artist, but morally or culturally, that's where opinions start to split. And finally, the cherry on top of our showcase is Solar Balls and their massive space-themed project. In just 3 years, the channel has skyrocketed to nearly 2 million subscribers and built a loyal fan base over on Patreon. The creators behind the channel are Alvaro Calme and Oliver Gilpin from the UK. What really stands out is the respect they have for their team. They've credited every single person involved in making the content. That alone speaks volumes about the kind of project this is: thoughtful, transparent, and community-driven. Their friendship laid the foundation for entire animated series centered around the planets: the Big Bang, the First Planet, the Moon Revolution, the Battle for Planet X, and more. What makes them special is that they don't exploit their audience or ask for anything in return. They clearly understand who they're creating for, and while their content is entertaining and humorous, it also includes real science, teaching kids to love learning in a fun, engaging way. No scandals, no drama, no messy ownership splits, just consistent high-quality content. They found the perfect balance between production value and upload frequency. They even launched a line of plush toys and collectible cards, giving fans a chance to support the project and feel like part of the Solar Balls family. Sometimes it feels like creators like this are becoming rare, but seeing how much they care, how much heart they put into their work for us, the everyday viewers, it keeps my hope alive. Hope that clean, honest content still has a place in this world. What do you think? Do the creators we talked about today truly deserve their reputations, for better or worse? Thanks for watching. See you next time.